I've seen in court where y'all bring people who have warrants and end up getting their cases resolved there, which I think is a very good service for the county.
Just, I was under the impression that we had some vehicles down in a pool at Road and Bridge. That if an officer, a full-time officer that doesn't drive his own vehicle, it's a county vehicle, you know, none of the constables that have their own vehicles can go down and draw it out of the pool. But an officer like this could go down and draw it out of the pool. Have we done away with those, or do we still have them? I know not long ago, you know, Mr. Christian, one of his vehicles went down, and we were able to get him a car out of the transfer, so we wouldn't have to buy another vehicle there. But that might be an option, but if we're going to turn these vehicles back in anyway, I'm sure that we could probably get more use out of them than what we're going to get as trade-ins or something through the auction.
This Taurus that I think he's talking about is probably around 8 or 9 years old, has a lot of miles, but it's still a good
solid car.
Be a great second, third car.
In it, so.
I'd be in favor of it because we've already got the initial investment on it. There doesn't appear to be any major malfunction of that vehicle that we're going to have to invest any more money in right now.
There was one other issue about the raise for a supervisor to be appointed to our division. I don't know if that was brought up, but there's that issue about having a supervisor made in our division.
And that's something that I think is going to have to be taken up through the salary plan committee. And I know I'm not stating the name correctly, but
salary compensation.
thank you. But we've discussed that because there are a few issues like that throughout the county in the salary plan. At least my personal goal would be to see it through this first year and continue looking at the plan and making those adjustments throughout the year, throughout the next year. Because I'd like for the committee to look at that. They're the ones that have done the work and review the need. So.
Well, Judge, along those lines, we had some people come in here last time and talk about some requested adjustments in the compensation plan. So I'd like to say that on behalf of any of those who wanted to look at reclassification or the issues that Merlin has brought up, I'm happy for us to convene a compensation study committee meeting. However, it's the court that needs to make the decision to put the money in the budget and to make the reclassification. So I'm happy to convene that meeting if that's what the court wants to do before it comes back to us. But at this stage of the game, with this being in the budget process, I think the people who have to make the decision need to address it with the people at this point.
And I think, Judge, we did say that we would address that in the second phase, and I think we should stick to that schedule and not make changes right now.
I think due to timing, I think that's what's going to need to happen. So, any discussion about the request for an additional officer versus an administrative assistant or secretary for that division?
Which one are we talking about, the administrative assistant or secretary? Because there's a difference in the pay level of those two
There is a
positions.
difference in pay level.
Quite a bit of a difference.
I believe a secretary might meet your needs. I think that's more appropriate for what you need rather than an administrative assistant. I think you're looking more for a secretary.
That would be substantially less.
It's
Well, not substantially, but it would
yes.
be less than an
It is
administrative
less,
assistant position.
I guess the question is exactly what do you want that person to do, and then we can decide whether it's an administrative assistant or secretary. Do you want someone just to look up the addresses and locations, or what are you asking for?
Really, the best thing would be a warrant officer. I mean, because they can go out, actually arrest people and do what you bring them to court and everything. But if that wasn't in the budget, the alternative I have was for the administrative secretary, which could do a lot of the footwork, and then we can do the rest of it. So the best idea would be a warrant officer.
Do you by any chance have a record of how many warrants you actually serve?
I do. We kind of have to share. I got the last 2 years up to this time.
And Merlin, what kind of a backlog do you have? If you're wanting another officer, What I would hate to do is for the court to give you a secretary when you really need a warrants officer, and the next year you've got a secretary and you come back and you want a warrants officer
That was my concern, too, about that.
and secretary.
But, yeah, we were very backlogged. We've taken so many more responsibilities, not just with warrants, but with court documents, and clearing out the court documents.
Okay, you're gonna have to quantify Barry for me, because that's,
Okay. Today, we picked up about 70 warrants, just today, and that's about every week. And we are serving somewhere around 30 in each court. And they're piling up. It's just, a lot of it was debt by checks. It takes a lot of time to send them to court. So we're not actually out there looking for them, but we're bringing them to court. So I don't know if I answered your question.
you did, but then you tell me, you're saying that you all ride together.
What we do, that's a safety issue and also the gas issue. And we do ride together and one man. That's just us two. And that's most of the time, it's not all the time. And it just depends when I get a call, somebody gets hit, somebody somewhere, I need to go, from my house. They do the same thing. But it's when we have a set number of warrants we're going out, we look them up, we've got good locations, we go together. It really doesn't change any amount of time as far as just going. Because like, especially like that by checks, we go there, we don't actually arrest them, we send them to court. So we don't have to stop, and both of us go to jail, it's just there, send them to court next month. Unless, they want.
Is this different from what Russell does? His death by check? Well, his is not that, his is, hot checks.
This is hot checks. It is the, what he does is he works in the check division and he gets, actually collected before they go to warrants. And once they go, they can't find it, they come to us. And then they file a court case in and the judge sends them to us, and then we try to locate them. And the check division is getting harder too because the way they change the checks. It used to be Walmart, or everybody else took checks, give it to you, now they're all like this electronic debit. So it's on that kind of the accounts. And the people, they're a little backlogged because it used to be 6 months per time that they got to check, per time that they're warned. So now it's about a year. So it's a lot more looking to find these people.
Well, the constable's offices also serve a lot of those hot check warrants, too, don't they?
Not that I know of, they serve issuance of that checks, which are class C, but they don't do the misdemeanors and felonies.
Well, actually, what Constable Jackson said, is they really don't know about it. So they don't know about how making it before. And looking at your numbers, and I don't know what the rest of the board is thinking, but you're actually down this year than last year.
Right, that's what I'm seeing.
600.
Right.
Yep, they're backlogged. So things are getting harder with the checks the way they are. I know those numbers taken into consideration of people that are keeping out of jail, the money they're saving from not having to jail.
And which we appreciate that, but you're also saying that you guys go together. So that's two people doing basically one job, because you're out there together at the same house and everything. So I don't know, I'm thinking maybe the secretary would probably be fine.
I think so too. I mean, I want officers to be safe, but I don't think that our other officials, and this is not being, I'm not trying to be mean at all. It's just that having two people go to do the same thing just appears to be redundant. So you all might need to look at your practices there, because I don't think the other law enforcement officers, they go to serve civil papers. Am I correct, Commissioner Van Ness? They don't go in twos, they don't go in
Well,
pairs.
a lot of them do, Commissioner, if it's a warrant. Now, civil paper is different than a warrant.
Yeah, well, I know that.
You going out after someone with a warrant, they might have a hot check warrant on it, and right now, they don't have a computer in your department, do you? So they can't check that person to see if there's any felonies till they get there and get them in hand, then they run a check over the radio.
And so that's something we need to correct, because I think they should have a laptop in their warrant.
So, for safety, and we do that, that's the standard policy, that if we know we're going after somebody with a warrant, we'll either run a second car out there with two-man units, or we'll run a double-man unit out there, so I have no problem with going to. I've had worse times out of misdemeanor people than I have felony people sometimes.
So that's it, like even with Tyler Police Department, for instance, when they stop somebody in Warren, they got us in another car over there,